Hi, and welcome to today's tip of the day. We are once again going to take a look at maintenance and reliability best practices by Ramesh Gulati. Get a random page from 1 to 700 and give you today's tip. So, let's see what we land on. Follow along in your version of maintenance and reliability best practices. Vote for your favorite number, and our winner is page 101. Let's see what's on 101, shall we? 101 talks about the CMMS and affordability. Wow. Okay, so the CMMS and affordability. So let's talk about that. So let's first say that we're done here. Shrink that back down. And let's talk about affordability and the CMMS system. So the CMMS system has a cost, obviously. The size of your organization, the requirements that are necessary within your CMMS, and what you will do with the data that you get out, what the opportunity is, makes a big difference in what type of CMMS system you can go after, what functionality, and at what cost. And licensing. I mean, there's so many things to talk about here. Let's kind of look at some of the factors, right? So a couple of the factors. Number one is risk. The risk is a huge factor. So if you are a regulated industry, let's say you're pharmaceuticals, you have no choice. You have to be 21 Part 11 compliant, and therefore you need a system that is 21 Part 11 compliant, and that may alter the price point at which you enter into the CMMS realm. Other factors may be the size of your organization, so size, which really equates to the number of users. How many users are going to be necessary for your system is going to impact cost. Licensing model associated with that may impact cost. So the licensing model. Sorry about the writing. Ask me a math question. What are you going to do? So licensing model is going to make a difference. Whether or not there is a free license tier for, say, folks that only manage transactions like the technical workforce themselves, or whether or not you have to pay for every single user. Now, licensing models have changed over the years. Years and years ago, things were like concurrent users, where you could have, say, 500 total concurrent users, and it doesn't matter how many users actually use the system as long as 500 aren't logged on at once. But that licensing model has pretty much gone away. And many models now are either per plant, per system, or based on a volume count of users, so 0 to 100, 100 to 200, and are typically named user licenses. And other more complicated licensing models look at things such as how many modules or applications will a user access. So are they a power user, or are they only doing basic transactions, or are they more like a system administrator? And so there's different licensing costs based on all those things. The other factor to consider is the implementation cost, the initial implementation cost. And the initial implementation cost may be a quick data migration or an easy data migration, may be a very complicated data migration. If you're upgrading from one system to a whole different system, you've got a data migration strategy that may have to include things like transactional records, which becomes really massive and very complex. Depending on what systems you're leaving and going to. So implementation costs would include also training costs. Please don't skimp out on training costs. All these things have to be factored in. However, the ultimate end result is really about risk and reward and what the cost benefit of utilizing a CMMS is for the business. In terms of labor savings, just to manage all the work that has to get done. In terms of risk reduction and in having a place to store all the work that has to get done, and having PMs that auto-generate and all kinds of other things that are benefits of owning the CMMS system. In addition to all that, it's what can I do with the data analysis that I couldn't really do if I was managing on paper or in Excel or, well, the old punch cards. So there's lots of benefits to that. The decision on whether or not you should spend money and to what degree you should spend money is really about, well, what's it going to get back to you? And implementation of the CMMS by itself has no return on investment. It's a cost. In order for you to get a return on investment, you have to do something with the data, and you have to do something with the system that saves time, whether that's in the administrative functions of managing all the work, and so you streamline that and you take that off the plate of the technical staff so they can use the skills out in the field, but there's a savings there. What that savings is, you really need to dig deep into. Now, we teach a course in CMMS setup and utilization. As a matter of fact, it's coming up in February. Highly recommend you sign up for that course. We will go over topics like this in much more detail. So until next time, we'll just listen to some music. Until next time, go make tomorrow better than today.